If you ever played or heard of Pokémon, you've probably heard of him too. Red is one of the most recognizable protagonists and trainers in the franchise as a whole, probably second only to Ash in recognition. But all this recognition doesn't come from the fact that this is the first playable character in the franchise, but also a lot from Red's own personality. I know it can be weird talking about the personality of a character who doesn't even speak, and on top of everything, a character who is controlled by the player. But it's more than just that. Pokémon begins its games by inserting you into the universe from a player's perspective. You're asked about your name, your gender, the name of your rival, details about you to be inserted into this universe in a way that makes you feel part of it, that makes you feel represented. Games like this have a point. The intention of the game is to put you in a scenario where you're going to live your adventure, where you see yourself as a part of the story. An immersion and a silent protagonist is perfect for that. It doesn't need words to show itself, just action as a whole. They reflect what you are as a person, but at the same time give him enough space to create a personality. But what kind of personality would someone like that have? It's worth starting at the beginning. What's your story? The 11-year-old from the town of Pallet began his interest in Pokémon battles with his friend, Green. And have considered each other rivals since childhood. But your adventure only really begins when you choose your starter in OX Laboratory. In a matter of Pokémon canon, according to Red's final team, the main timeline of your story is Pokémon Yellow, where your starter is Pikachu, and the trainer captures all 3 Kanto starters. So, his final team is easily expandable. He has all 4 options of Kanto starters, and the other members of your team are all the Pokémon you win or are forced to face on your journey through the games. Lapras and Eevee, which you can receive, and Snorlax, which you have to battle in order to proceed. They all have one thing in common: you. And that's the main connection to their whole personality. The story of Pokémon in Kanto has some of the most aspects for understanding its protagonist. The fact that the games have different ways of being completed, different paths to follow, makes the experience of his vision free and, consequently, more personal. Anyone playing these games can talk about their journey individually and feel special, feel unique. After all, there's a huge variety of choices. That's what Pokémon is all about. Various Pokémon to catch, use, trade, or even never see. You only get to know them with friends. In addition to the enormous possibility of your order facing the gyms being completely different from a friend of yours. In Kanto, there are a total of 60 different possible orders for defeating gym leaders. That alone already demonstrates how the game includes you in your narrative. The power of choice, since you're the one deciding things around you. You're making everything go the way you want it to. The experience of the game is given by you being in control and making different decisions. Immersion. There are some roadblocks, but you always have another way to go. To see new places instead of just running to the next gym. But at the same time, there is something in common in all of them, a connective tissue between all their adventures. A roadblock that everyone encounters, that everyone has to get past, whether they want to or not. It's this connection with his rival that makes Red the personality he is. You have a rival who bothers you, who disturbs you, who blocks your path. It always makes you try to improve. And the way that Red reacts to him generates the personality we see. He responds to the rival who always disturbs is by being always calm and using few words. He is an image of how you want to be in a difficult situation, even if in reality you're not like that as a player. And inside, you're even thinking about your annoying rival. The image of Red, who says little but does a lot, helps. It's that contrast between red and green that is the main aspect of his personality, that calmness and coldness. These are aspects that you attach to the character, which deep down he isn't, but which you see that way. But that's not the only contrast, also because of the characters of the character in history. Another detail is that there is a very important point in Red's actions, with other things in the universe, an achievement for him as a character in this world. The way Kanto separates the events of the story of the protagonist who is living his own life, trying to become a Pokémon master, in contrast to the events of a criminal organization that is tormenting the region for the sake of its leader, are the main way that this Red personality we've created shines through. A character who has nothing to do with any of this, who just wants to live his life in peace, but who, after seeing so much of the destruction caused by the villains around him, is forced to try to stop them. Even though this is an obligation of the game, you can understand how that character will do all that. As he lives the story, he would surely save Mr. Fuji from being taken hostage. He would save the people from Silphco when it was invaded, and also how he would defeat even their leader. They're all reflections of the image that you created the character, the hero, the one who doesn't get rattled or fall for his rival, and that's why he's so beloved. We all see him like that. As these games are generally an introduction to the Pokémon universe, the famous first generation, you easily become attached to your first adventure. It's all thanks to your imagination, which has created an image for him that's easy to relate to, and that's why looking at him is like looking in the mirror, seeing your evolution as a person, all in one character, being able to look back and see how much you've evolved and learning about Pokémon, and also in life. Everything is completely linked to the image of that character. It represents who you were, and when you look at it again, you're proud of it. You know his story when you see at the top of the Silver Mountain in Johto. You know what he did, how he did it. You were there. Because he's much stronger than anyone realized. He's the best trainer and has the highest level Pokémon in all the games. Just like you're much stronger than you realize. You're the best trainer and you have the highest level Pokémon in all the games. Only you could beat you. It shows that your choices were the right ones. You're represented in a champion. The evolution of Red from an 11-year-old child in Red, Green, Blue and Yellow to the 31 Red in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are a reflection of his aging and maturing. He's the most recurring character in the franchise, because you can always go back and see in him a reflection of what you yourself have evolved into.